Hey guys, what's up? Ruben here from the Midnight Garage. So the other day I saw a guy with a Honda CRX driving around and he had a Honda Primo windshield banner. And naturally I asked the guy like, why do you have a Honda Primo windshield banner? And he said, yeah, it's because it's Honda Racing. And I was like, okay, that's completely wrong, but you know, whatever. I love the guy and I figured, you know, maybe some people do not know anything about Honda Primo, Honda Verno and Honda Clio. So I figured it might be a good idea to make this video. Alright, so right off the bat, Honda Primo and Honda Verno, etc. they don't have anything to do with racing. Yes, they sponsored a couple of races, but that's about it. Black & Decker, for example, sponsored races as well, and they also don't have anything to do with racing, you know? What they are, in fact, are sales channels through which Honda used to sell their own models. To understand how these channels came to be, let's just go back all the way to 1963. Back in 1963, Honda started selling their first Honda models, and they started selling them through a regular sales channel called just Honda dealers. And through these Honda dealers, they sold all their cars, and that worked really well up until 1978. You see, Mr. Soichiro Honda saw that other brands had different channels where they sold their models. And they said like, oh boy, we need to get some of that sweet action as well. So you know what? Let's start a new channel called the Honda Verno channel. Once they established the Honda Verno dealer network, they started selling cars with more features as the standard trim and more sporty related cars. The first cars they sold there were the Honda Prelude, the Honda Vigor, the Honda Ballade and the Honda Quint. The regular unnamed Honda dealerships that were still around at the time, they just got all the other stuff that the Honda Verno dealership didn't get. So the normal cars, the lawnmower equipment, the generators, you name it, anything with a Honda logo on it you could just get at the regular Honda dealership. This obviously was working out great for Honda, as in 1985 they started out two new sales channels called Honda Clio and Honda Primo. Honda Clio was the second sales channel of Honda, and they started selling the more luxury high-end models such as the Honda Legend and the Honda Accord. Now obviously these models never raced, so this is why you don't see any window streamers of Honda Clio. And finally in 1985 we got Honda Primo, which started selling all the other Honda stuff that the unbranded Honda stores were selling before that, such as the lawnmowers, the generators, the regular cars, the motorcycles, etc. So in short, in the mid 80s we had Honda Clio that sold the luxury high-end models, we had Honda Verno that sold the upbeat and more sporty vehicles, and we had Honda Primo that pretty much sold everything else. Well, that seems pretty clear cut, pretty logic and pretty simple to me, right? So naturally Honda had to make everything more complicated and less logic. You see, back in the mid 80s Japan was in a bubble economy and everything was going great, there was lots of optimism. Everything went through the roof and everything was awesome. But this all collapsed in 1991. And with a collapsed economy, you obviously have less demand for new cars. So the cheap and basic cars that were sold at Honda Primo, they pretty much sold well even though the economy burst. But the more expensive and the more luxurious cars that were sold at Honda Verno and Honda Clio, they didn't sell that well. So in the early 90s, Honda had a problem as one of the sales channels was doing really well and the other two weren't. So how did they fix this? Well, easy. They started selling the cars that were doing well in the Honda Primo dealership in the other dealerships as well. And they slightly badged engineered them to make them look slightly different so that at least the other Honda dealerships could sell cars as well, as their regular models didn't sell as well as they did before. A great example of these badge engineered cars was simply looking at the license plates, as the Honda Verno models had the license plates in the rear bumper, whereas the Honda Clio and Honda Primo counterparts had their license plate in the trunk. But in short, that's how we ended up with cars like the Honda Domani, the Honda Kappa and K cars such as the Honda Dats being sold at both the Honda Clio dealership as the Honda Verno dealership. In short, everything got extremely complicated and nothing made sense anymore. Honda themselves, they started noticing this as well, and in 2006 they said, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm out. And in 2006 they started one sales channel for all the Honda cars, and they very originally named it Honda Cars. Was this the end for all the Honda Clio, Verno and Primo dealerships? No, because a lot of dealerships chose to keep the old names but instead start selling all the Honda models at once. And for some reason it seems that Honda itself started regretting the decision of selling everything through one channel, as in 2012 they started the Honda Cars small store, which obviously, as the name implies, started selling K cars and small cars. So is it possible in the future that Honda once again comes up with more dealer networks such as Honda, Clio, Primo and Verno? Well, maybe. So if you happen to have an older Honda model and you are unsure which dealer network sold your car, or you just want to know more about it, I've made a small list of which sales channels sold which Honda models, so it clears things up for you. Alright guys, that's it for today. I hope this video was informative and it clears things up about the different sales networks Honda used to have back in the day. So yeah guys, I hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos, and then hopefully we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.